When it comes to building wealth, most people think it's all about picking the right stock or timing the market or finding the next big deal. And that's not what really builds lasting wealth. You see, wealth is built on principles that never change no matter what the economy does. And if you understand these four keys, which are time, compounding, leverage, and tax advantages, you can completely change your financial trajectory. Let's talk about each key individually. So the first key, and by the way, these aren't in order of importance. The reason why I point that out is because sometimes when you have a list of things, by the time you get to the end of the list, you may not feel like that's quite as important as number 1 or 2 or 3. And all of these should be number 1. But let's just look at them. There's 4 of them, but just keep in mind, none of them is less or greater of importance than putting them all together. So key number 1, time. The first key is time. Now, time is the greatest wealth multiplier in history. Every dollar you put to work early has a chance to multiply itself many times over your lifetime. The problem is most people waste the early years chasing returns, waiting until they make enough money to really start saving. Wealthy people understand that time in the market is far more important than timing the market. And I don't care what market you're talking about, it's the same principle. And so they start as soon as they possibly can, and they let time do the heavy lifting. And when you use tools like the Ysureance model, your money starts compounding from day one, and you've got the safety net and also the growth rocket, if you will, of predictability. That's kind of the foundation. Now, what's the second key? Second key is compounding. Now, Einstein called compounding the 8th wonder of the world, and he really wasn't exaggerating. Compounding is when your money earns interest, and that interest earns interest over and over again. But here's what most people miss. Compounding only works when your money isn't being interrupted. Every time you pull it out, or you have to pay taxes, or you lose money in a market downturn, you have to reset the compounding curve. That's why we want to focus on uninterrupted compounding for some of our funds. In Ysureance, for example, your life policy compounds tax-free every single year, no matter what the stock market does. And then your Z token, which is part of the Ysureance plan, it takes compounding even further, producing that monthly Bitcoin yield that can be reinvested to buy more tokens, creating digital compounding. So now that we've got those two engines working together, we've got traditional compounding inside the policy and exponential compounding through the Bitcoin yield. Then we want to look at the third key, which is leverage. Wealthy people never rely on just their own dollar. They make every dollar do multiple jobs. And so they leverage their assets, they leverage credit, and even their own cash flow to create acceleration. With the Ysureance token, you can do the same thing. Your policy becomes an asset that you can borrow against. And when you borrow against it, it's a tax-free loan, while it's still growing inside the policy as if you've never touched it. You can then use that borrowed capital. Well, certainly you can purchase the Z token to compound. You can invest in business opportunities, expand your portfolio, real estate, oil and gas, equipment leasing, whatever might fit, all while your original money never leaves the policy and continues to compound. That's smart leverage. It's using your money without losing your money, and it's having a dual purpose where each dollar works in 2 different locations. And this is how wealth grows geometrically instead of linearly. Now, the final key in building wealth is tax advantages. Let's face it, you can't build real wealth if half your growth goes to taxes. Taxes are the single biggest destroyer of wealth over time. It's also, for the most part, the largest bill we'll ever pay in our lifetime. That's why the wealthy play a different game. They use strategies that allow their money to grow, compound, and transfer even tax-free. Think about this. The tax code, over 6,000 pages, is really what I call the cheat codes. Inside that massive book tells you exactly what you need to do to avoid taxes. And we have tax attorneys, experts, finding that code, making sure that you're paying or reducing your taxes as much as possible. Now, with the Ysureance strategy, you're doing exactly that. You've got your policy growth, which is tax deferred and can be tax-free as long as we use it properly. Then you've got the Z token yield that's paid out monthly in Bitcoin, and you can control that directly. Now, when you pair the two together, you're creating a system that compounds monthly, grows tax advantage, and can even transfer to the next generation with very minimal or no tax, depending on how we handle it. That's how legacy wealth is built generation after generation. So let's kind of bring it all together. We've got time, we've got compounding, we've got leverage and tax advantages. These are the 4 timeless keys to building your wealth. So Ysureance didn't reinvent those principles. We just made them much more powerful. We took the safest, most tax efficient wealth building tool, which is life insurance, and combined it with the highest performing asset over the last decade, which is Bitcoin. Then we added the yield and the monthly compounding through the Z token. And the best part is, this isn't theory, it's math, technology, and decades of proven strategy all coming together. So if you'd like to take a peek and see how these 4 keys can be working in your life, download the Ysureance white paper. You'll learn exactly how we combine predictable compounding, monthly Bitcoin yield, and tax-free growth into one integrated strategy. So grab my link below. Let's have a private strategy session. Answer all your questions. Because when you master these 4 keys, you don't just build wealth, you actually build your financial freedom. And if you want to see how the Z token creates monthly Bitcoin rewards and how combining it with the tax-free policy can multiply your wealth far beyond Wall Street and maybe even further than you even imagined. So grab my calendar link below and schedule a session that works best for you. Now remember, the world is trying to hoard Bitcoin. At the same time they're hoarding it, you'll be growing it. Until next time, take care.